Mic'd up.
Hey, welcome everybody. It's your boy Bipster, Bip Roberts, former major leaguer, coming to you live from the Bay Area. You're now listening to Bips Blips on the Mic'd Up app. And this is a platform where you can now talk to all of your favorite ball players anytime you want to. All you have to do is download the app, go ahead and take a look at the show, send us a question, and we'll answer it. Just want to welcome you all here on June 5th, 2023. What a beautiful day it is up here in the Bay Area. And we're going to talk a little bit of baseball like we always do, hang out for a minute. And at some point in time, we'll answer some questions. But we will come back with topics on today in baseball. Uh, Toronto Blue Jays Stadium opened. Some of the teams that are playing well. We'll talk about some of the teams that are not playing well. If you don't know, I do cover the Oakland A's and not playing very well. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the move to Vegas, the possible move to Vegas. Some things are coming out right now that, man, I'm just glad I'm not in either situation where I have to either move or stay or find a new home. It's going to be tough. A couple things happened this weekend. We'll talk about it. A couple good things happened this weekend. But we'll be right back on Bips Blips.
Mic'd up. Mic'd up.
Hey. Welcome. You know, it's funny, before I left you guys, I was talking about the A's. And because I have the game on in the background, I looked up and I saw their stats. And their stats said last. It's unbelievable, man. I have never seen anything like this. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about some guys right now who are just off the chain, just doing their thing. Consistent players, guys who could be Gold Glovers, MVPs. Right now, you talk about game hit streaks. And when I look over here at the charts, I see Marcus Semien. He got a 23 game hit streak, just flat out balling. Boy, just think if we had Marcus as shortstop for the A's, well, we might win 14 games because we've only won 12. When you look at the longest active on base streak, Marcus Semien got 31. Just balling, man. This kid is doing a good. He's just one of the most consistent players that I've seen in a long time, and he happens to be from the Bay Area. So I've known Marcus probably since he was 11 years old, and he's always been a standout ball player. Even when he went to Cal, standout ball player. We started St. Mary's High School, and then he went to Cal, and now you see he's having an outstanding major league career. His team is doing very well too. Look at the Texas Rangers; they're up by 3.5 over the Houston Astros. The Astros, defending world champion. But Marcus Semien is having a great year. First year over there, he kind of tried to play up to the contract, played every day, but yet still, they didn't win. They didn't have the pitching. Now they have the pitching. They have the manager with Bruce Bochy over there. Sager's back. Marcus Semien is doing his thing. Garcia's balling. They just have a trio of guys over there who are just they're doing their thing, man. They're playing great as a team, and I think that has a lot to do with Bruce Bochy. Bochy's the man. Bochy knows how to play a deck of cards, and he knows how to play them well. He's been a winner. You know, Bochy and I played together in San Diego, I used to watch him play cards on the airplane from city to city. Seemed like he won a lot. Yeah. I don't know if it was the blue eye or the brown eye, but he could trick them guys and he would just take their money. That's Boch, man. That's Boch. Looking at the standings, Tampa Bay is leading the East by 4 over Baltimore, 6 over the Yankees. The Twins up 3.5 over the Guardians, 3.5 over the Tigers. The Tigers, come on, man. Rangers are up in the West, up 3.5 over the Astros, 8.5 over Angels. The Braves over in the East of the National League, up by 3.5 over Miami, up by 5.5 over the Mets. Milwaukee is up a half a game over the Pirates. And see, I remember back when the Astros were really starting to rebuild, and everybody said we got to beat the Astros because if we play the Astros and we win, we have a good winning percentage, and you got to win those type of games. I say that to say the Pirates, a half game out, are playing the A's tonight. What does that tell you? They win tonight. Milwaukee loses. The Pirates could be in first place. And over in the West, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are tied with a 35-25 record. That's pretty good there. So when you look at the slates tonight, the games on slate tonight, you got the Rays at the Red Sox. This is the fourth game of a 4-game series, a wraparound series. Usually you don't play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in the city, but this time they're doing that. The Rays have won 2 out of the first 3, have a chance to win the third one today. You got, who's that? McClanahan on the mound against Bello. That should be a pretty good game. So we'll see. Rays are 42-9. Red Sox are 30-29. Tigers at the Phillies. You got Royals at the Marlins. A's at the Pirates. Astros at the Blue Jays. Brewers at the Reds. Cardinals at the Rangers. Cubs at the Padres. Should be some pretty good baseball tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Now, there was a stat that came out earlier. I got to find this because I just couldn't believe it. As I watch Estuary Ruiz ground out. Oh, actually, we don't know what just happened there. But he's on first base. Must have been some type of catcher's interference. But he's probably going to steal second base. And there he goes. And he is safe. Estuary Ruiz leads all of Major League Baseball in stolen bases. But it says right here, with another loss on Monday, the A's will become the second fastest team since 1900 to reach 50 losses in a season. And today is the Oakland's 62nd game. Wow, man. I just think back, if I've been on a team that won 12 games, it's 12-49. It may be a lot of fights in that clubhouse. Or you could even be galvanized and you could be strong. You could be Teflon. Just knowing you're all going through this at the same time. It's crazy. It says the run differential is minus 212. By far the worst in baseball. They're on a pace to break the modern mark for the worst differential, currently held by the 1932 Reds at minus 349. So they're saying if you combine the next 3 worst run differentials, KC 75, Detroit 64, Colorado 57, they will still have a better run differential than the A's. Man, that's a crazy stat because you can't win games if you don't score runs. That's the craziest stat I've heard, man. I'm just so shocked that you could only have 12 wins at this time. I think Kansas City might have 17 or 18. But man, we up here in Oakland, man. That's not how the town get down. We're just not used to that. Town is known for the Bash Brothers. We're known for the 72-3-4 A's who won back-to-back-to-back. The Vita Blues, rest in peace. The Campaneris, the Jacksons. Then we're known for the Bash Brothers and the Ricky Hendersons. Come on, man. We got to do better than this. But I think that a lot of it has to do with just no support here up in the Bay. And you know why. We start talking about leaving and rooted in Oakland, and then you're trying to find a house somewhere else. People have a tendency up here in Oakland, in the Bay Area, to turn off on you. They're not playing up here, man. You know, if you tell somebody something up here in Oakland, You better live by it because all you got is your word up here. And if you break your word up here, like Tony Montana said, all I got is my word, and he said something else, and he don't break those for nobody. But once your word is means nothing up here, the bay will turn on you, and that's what we see. Because this is when you see an empty ballpark, it's a protest against. Because most people up here love the game of baseball, and they love the A's. Again, I'm an analyst for the A's pre and post. I get out in the community, I hang out with folks, and they watch the pre and the post. They just don't go to the games. They can tell me what I said on my last show. They can tell me exactly what the players are doing. But when I ask them when's the last time they went to the ballpark, they tell you it's been a long time, and they're not going. And they're firm in that commitment. They're not going. And that's amazing to me because whether they go or not has no bearing if the A's stay or not. So we're all going to lose in the end, all of us. Because I'm used to going to the ballpark and just hanging out, watching the game, kind of passing some time when I'm free from the office or I'm not on schedule to do games. And I have that free time. Instead of sitting at home, I can go sit out at the ballpark and enjoy the weather, enjoy a baseball game, and watch some good talent out there. Normally, I'm watching other teams, but it's neither here or there. I just enjoy the game of baseball. Love the game of baseball. My granddaughter started going to a bunch of games now. And I'm like, well, what happened? She's almost 20 years old. I got to watch her because she's sending me names of players. And I'm like, okay. I don't have to have this little talk with her. Like, she be getting infatuated with these boys out there. Grandpa still carries a big stick. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We don't play that. Homie don't play that. So I got to have a talk with her. I'm watching the A's right now. They up 1-0 over the Pirates. Rinoda just got a base hit, drove in Estuary Ruiz, who had we call it a Ruiz run now because he'll find a way to get on base, still second. And sometimes they score him, sometimes they don't. That's equivalent to a Ricky run when you can get on base, steal a bag, and score a run. So, let me tell you something. This weekend, I had a great weekend. Start off kind of rocky, but it was still good. Friday was good. We did outreach at the church. We gave away food to like 170 families. Everybody had a good spirit coming through that line. We kind of do evangelist work in that line. We talk to people about the blessing they get from the food, but hey, you get eternal blessing if you come to church on Sunday. And usually everybody is really receptive. And then there's always that one. And that one came, she had 5 cars. She wanted 5 what we call carts of groceries. And I got a line all the way around the corner. If I give you 5 carts of groceries, then everybody else is going to come up short. And I try to explain that. But all I got was just pushback and pushback, pushback. And no matter how I tried to say it, it wouldn't register to her that you're holding up the line and you're taking some food out of some really needy people's mouths. To the point I had to tell her, hey, can you just pull over? We'll discuss this later. I got to take care of the masses right now. And she just hooted and hollered and just was so ungrateful for the blessings she was getting. I finally had to say, listen, either you take what we're going to give you because you're being blessed, or you're going to have to leave. See, and people just don't get it, man. So that was Friday. Saturday, my man Tyson Ross. You remember Tyson Ross, pitcher, big league pitcher? Went to Bishop O'Dowd in Oakland, and then he ended up going playing pro ball, pitched for a lot of years in the big leagues. Tyson and Joe Ross. You know who they are. Come on, don't act like you don't know who the Ross brothers are. And Mr. Ross is a doctor, so man, that's a heck of a family right there, brother. It's all in order. So Tyson had a camp out there in Santa Clara. It's called Loyal to the Soil. You know anything about E40? He used to always say, I'm loyal to the soil. And that's my brother, man. E40 is my brother, man. I saw E40 at Costco last week. He was there, and he's got a lot of products. And he was in Costco signing autographs, taking pictures, selling his products. But Tyson Ross on Saturday had a camp down in Santa Clara. It was nice. MLB came and they sponsored some gear. The swag bag. The swag bag had some nice stuff in it. I got two because I got two grandsons. And so I got two of the bags. But we just had a great camp. They ran it very well. I was just impressed with it. And Tyson is just an impressive young man. He's got a family of two boys. And I just was so impressed with how they ran the camp. And I think all the kids really learned something. The kids were from 8 to 18. And we had just groups that would just go from one to the next. And we would just teach the same thing. I was teaching fielding the ball coming straight at you out in front, things like that. Some tricks and trades I learned from Ron Washington when I was with the A's, and Ron was my infield coach. So we all try to show them Ron Washington's drills because those are the best. When you're going to teach drills, you teach from the best, and Wash is the best. So, each group would rotate and rotate and rotate. I think we had about 6 different groups. We went from 11 until 2. And then after it was over, I had to make a mad dash to get home, clean up, and then take my dad some food up in Sacramento. So I went from Santa Clara, got home, cleaned up. My grandson met me here. He's 8 years old. We drove up to Sacramento. He got to see his great grandfather. We gave his great grandfather the food that I had brought from the outreach on Friday. We actually went and got us some barbecue, some chicken, some rib tips, some links, some potato salad, some beans, and we sat there and broke bread with great grandpa. And then we had to turn around and come back home, and that was a nice little ride. My little 8-year-old grandson, one of them, he's just a rider, man. And he didn't go to sleep on me. He kept me company the whole time. And we just had good conversation. Following morning, Sunday, we both jump up, get ready, and we head to the church house. And this is what I'm so impressed about. At 8 years old, he's got that spirit to want to learn and to want to grow in Christ. And I just love it, man. I bought him a Bible and he just instantly started reading it. And now he goes into the children's Bible and he's enjoying himself. And so I had to work as an usher yesterday. And when it was done, I had to go get him out of there. And when I peeked in, I just wanted to see how he was, acting or how he was intermingling with everybody. He was right in the middle of it, enjoying himself. So that's how my Sunday went. Came home, cooked some food, ate, and then I had to drop him off at home. So that was a good day. I had a great day as a grandpa. But he don't call me grandpa. He called me pawpaw. See, I might be, might have a few grays up there, but I'm not no grandpa, man. You calling me no grandpa? Oh yeah, they're the grays right there. But I'm not no grandma, pawpaw. How you like me now? All right? Yeah, yeah. Hey, so that was my weekend, and now we're at Monday, and we're here doing Blips, the podcast. So hopefully I didn't bore you with that story. I just had to get it out because that was in my spirit. I had a great weekend. I enjoyed it. Those kids were amazing out there in Santa Clara. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Jenna, who works for MLB, was out there taping it. So at some point in time, it's going to be on MLB. It's going to be on their website as well. So look at it. Take a look. It is Tyson Ross. His camps are called Loyal to the Soil. And that's where we are up in the Bay. We're loyal to the soil. We'll be right back on Blips. All right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back to Bib's Blips on the Mic'd Up app, the only interactive app where you can actually hang out with your favorite player and you can actually send us a question and associate and talk with us and see what's going on. All right. A lot of times we forget that there are a lot of people out there who want to just hang out with us because we just consider ourselves to be normal people. But sometimes you get around people and they're just like, man, I can't believe I'm talking to I just and you just be like, really, man? Like calm down, bro. Where was I, man? I was in Genova sandwich shop the other day in Walnut Creek, and I was getting a sandwich, and I like to go hide over in the corner and wait until they call my number because it's always crowded. And then this guy walked towards me and he was looking for something. I was like, hey man, that's not where the sandwiches go, or that's not where the bread is. And he looked up, he was like, oh, you are. And I was like, I am. And he went outside and got his girlfriend, came in and wanted to take pictures in a crowded store. I normally don't do that. I normally don't do that. And then after I did it, this other little lady, she creeped up on me and she goes, well, who are you? I saw them come over and they were like talking to you. Who are you? And I was like, nobody. I am nobody. It cracks me up because people always ask, who are you? And I just go, nobody. I learned that from this guy, George Aubrey. He was the manager of the Whispers. And when I was young, he took me with him to the concert because I knew the Whispers. You know, they are from Oakland as well. So I know the guys. And so I went with George and we were at the concert and he was at the stage. And then the security asked him, who are you? And he said, nobody. Even though he was George Aubrey, the manager of the Whispers at the time, he said, nobody. I thought that was so cool. He just, nobody. I'm nobody. Man. All right, let's ask some questions because a lot of times we'll ask these questions later on in the show, and then we run out of time. And I don't want to run out of time. I want to take my time and answer these questions because if you want to follow us, hit that little that I think it's a heart right there. It's a white heart, but it'll turn blue and it'll let you know that we know you're there. Okay. And if you want to advertise on the show, you got to send me somewhere. I don't know. We'll work it out, but you got to send it to me, and then we'll put that on air too. So when I go to break, I'll play you a little spot, and then people hear it, and hopefully they'll give you a call, do some business, and they'll say, all right. So let's do that. All right, but we're gonna get to Jack first right here and see what Jack is talking about.
Is the pitch clock causing more injuries to pitchers this year? Would be interested in your comments on that. Thanks.
Ooh, that's a good question because I didn't know that guys were getting hurt more because of the pitch clock. Excuse me. I thought that it was just one of those things where they would get out of their rhythm because the pitch clock would start to kind of speed up on them. And maybe they start to huff and puff, get the ball, get the sign and go and start missing location. I think that's where I wouldn't say injury, but I would say that's where they're getting beat up. They're not getting injured. They're just hitting that barrel of the bat because that clock is speeding up on them. I think guys will get injured anyway. It doesn't matter if there's a pitch clock or not. It's just about the human body. You can only go out there so many times before you get fatigued. And with fatigue, that's how you get hurt because you're trying to go out there and repeat. And these guys have to repeat their motion, repeat their motion, repeat their motion. And if they get fatigued, now something starts to break down. It may be because their legs are tired, maybe because their shoulder gets tight, maybe because their forearm gets tight, whatever it may be. But I think the fatigue factor, it may have a factor or play into it more because of the pitch clock. Maybe. So I see sometimes guys, they're just sweating bullets after the first inning because the pitch clock is catching up with them. These guys are starting to understand that you have to throw strikes, get the ball back, catch your breath, settle down, and then go again. Sometimes these guys, they'll throw a strike, they'll get the ball, they'll rub it up. They may just take a deep breath or whatever, but the clock is always ticking. And then it starts to speed up on you, especially when guys get on base. Clock starts to speed up on them. And I think that's something where they can get fatigued, they can get out of breath quickly, and before you know it, these guys are starting to get an injury here or there, starting to compensate for something because of the fatigue. So That's a good question. I'm gonna have to keep my eye on that. I hadn't really thought about that, but it makes sense. If that clock is ticking and they're behind it now and they're trying to catch up, yeah, fatigue could set in. And next thing you know, there's some type of leg injury or some type of stiffness in the shoulder, maybe even a back problem. So let's keep an eye out on that. That's a good question. Wick.
Hey, Biff. This is Tim from Danville. Actually, traveling now, but my question is now the Giants have started to play a lot better, over 500. Do you still think they need to get a big name? And if so, who might that be? What are the prospects out there? Thanks, Biff.
That's a pretty good question. I think what's going to happen is they're going to scour the league. They're going to send their scouts out. They're going to start thinking about, hey, we have an opportunity. We're going to be players in this when we get around to seeing if we can make a trade here around the deadline. So I think names will start coming out maybe so around All-Star break, where you can now start to get an idea of exactly what it is they're looking for. But I know right now Farhan is ready to send scouts out to every team that he feels there's someone there that can help them win. I think maybe when you start looking at it, of course, you always need a reliever out there. You need a righty and a lefty. You always need a big bat. You always need somebody to get the party started at the top of the lineup. You always need that guy that can come up with clutch hits. You have to start thinking about the teams you're gonna play, and if we get this guy, how does he fare against that team? There's so much data out there that you first have to scour and go through all of that, and then say, okay, these are the guys we're looking at. Because if I just mention a name, he may not be a fit. You see, he may just not be a fit. They may already have guys in these positions and saying, hey, we're gonna go with these guys, but we need to add over here. But I know teams always want to add in that bullpen because guys in the bullpen get tired because they're used so much. Bullpen is something that is always turned over. And if you can get somebody who's coming off his last year or is in his last year of his contract and is probably going to get a big deal down the line, he may be free. So you just have to wait and see. Because a lot of times when you have guys who have that potential to make their team better, they get signed and they may get signed to a multi-year deal. So this is a little waiting game. But first, you have to send your scouts out there to see if this is the right guy. And they'll put a scout on a guy for 2-3 weeks to see exactly how he performs against everybody through the good and through the bad. Can he work himself out of the bad when he's going bad? And how long can he stay good when he's going good? And who is he getting out? Who's he facing? Is he that guy to come in and get one batter? Is he a lefty to get that one lefty? Is he getting that job done? See, is he a righty who can go 2 innings? Is he a guy that hits against the top 10 pitching? Is he against the teams we're going to play towards the end? Is he going to really help us, or does he struggle against these guys? So there's a lot that goes into this. I know when I was with KC and the Yankees and the Cleveland Indians were looking to see who could help their team because neither one was actually they were in the wild card or running for the wild card. They weren't even in the playoffs. So they were looking to see who could give them a spark to help them get to the wild card. And I know that they were on certain players for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I ended up going to Cleveland that year. So we just have to wait and see. You never know what's going to happen.
Hi, Bip. Which MLB player is off to a slow start this year that you expect to turn it around and straighten things out before the year is over? Thanks.
Well, I mean, when you start talking about slow starts, does that mean low average? Does that mean power wise? Does that mean um, he's not getting wins or he's just not pitching well? I mean, when you look at guys who can hit for higher averages, you look at the first guy I look at is Mookie Betts right now. He's hitting 260, I believe, at the most. And Mookie Betts has always been a 3, 10, 20, 30 hitter. So there has to be more in the tank there. But he's hitting home runs, he's scoring runs, He's doing everything that you need to do in the leadoff spot except for hitting for a high average. So I expect him to do well. I expect him to get hot at some point in time. Seager with Texas, he's just coming back from an injury and he's starting to swing the bat well. Texas again, we're talking about a powerhouse, and he's going to be that key part, that key element, shortstop, shortstop with power, shortstop with one of the most beautiful swings in baseball. Can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big issue, the big question. If he stay healthy, Houston, I'm telling you, man, y'all gonna have a tough time with the Texas Rangers. So I'm expecting Sager to be one of those guys as well. A lot of guys who have pretty good starts that I expected to be off to good starts, and there's a lot of guys who are in the middle of the pack, but we got a long way to go. I think a lot of these guys are really going to take off the second half of the season, unless you're a guy like Aaron Judge. He comes back off the IL, he just swings that big bat, plays great defense. The Yankees start winning again. So Aaron Judge is that guy as well. He's going to continue to carry his team. Started off slow, just picked it up. That's what good players do. Once they find their rhythm, it's a matter of just staying consistent the rest of the way. You have ups and downs, but for the most part, these guys, once they get it going, it's beautiful to watch. Man, when you're on teams with guys who get hot, and you just watch them and you just marvel at what they're doing. I've seen Tony Gwynn do it. I've seen Roberto Alomar do it. I've seen Barry Larkin do it. I've seen Manny Ramirez do it. And man, when these guys are on a hot streak, they just do some incredible things. So let's just wait and see. At some point in time, that guy will start to stand out.
Hi, Bip. Acuna from Atlanta seems to be off to another good year. He has like at least 10 or 11 home runs and quite a few stolen bases. Do you think it's possible for him to get to 30 home runs and 60 stolen bases? There does seem to be a lot more stolen bases in baseball this year. Has there ever been anyone with a 30-60 season in the history of baseball? Thanks.
30 home runs, 60 bags. I'd have to go into the history books to see. But the only guy that I would think of who could be a 30-60 would be Ricky. But I have to take a look and see. I'm not really into looking at a bunch of numbers and a bunch of history when it comes to who did what and who did this. The goal was always to be 40-40. 40 bags, 40 home runs. Canseco's and Barry Bonds, those guys, they did that. I think that Acuna could be that 40-40 guy, because you got to think about it. 30 home runs, 60 bags, he's got to do a lot of running. But if he can get 40-40, he don't have to do all that running. He could jog a couple times. And I think he's got the potential to do that. Right now, I don't see any 30-60 guys unless he is the guy who can do it. I'd rather see him do 40-40. I think that's a bigger accomplishment. 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases. And that's a select few who can do that. Some of your best, only your best, can do something like that. I don't know if Eric Davis had 40-40 one year, but Eric Davis was a great athlete too. And see, again, I don't look at numbers and stats a lot. I just don't know. People ask me all the time, "Hey, so what did you hit and did?" And I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to tell me. I'm sure you know better than I do, because a lot of people are stat guys, and I'm just a guy who played the game, and I don't know. I don't know. But I think if he goes 40-40, he wins National League Most Valuable Player.
There's a lot of controversy over stealing signs. However, it's always been a part of the game. When there's a runner on second base, he always will look into the catcher to see if he can pick up signs. Now, is that a problem? Is that an issue or no?
I don't see stealing signs as an issue. That's been a part of the game since Abner Doubleday invented the game. If I get to second base and I can see your signs and I know exactly what you're throwing and my hitter wants the sign, then I can relay it to. I could relay him that sign if that's what he wants. I wasn't a guy who relayed signs because repercussions was that if other team found out I was relaying signs, I would probably get drilled. And back in my day, those guys didn't play, and they didn't care where they hit you. We had some guys on our team, Joe Carter. He would come in and ask, "Hey, I got the signs. Do you want them?" And I would always say no. But Joe hit like fifth. I hit first. So most of the time, he's not going to be able to give me the sign. So he was speaking to the guys in the bottom part of the lineup. But I was one of those who didn't want the sign unless I was going to steal a bag. Then I try to run on a breaking ball. So that would be for my benefit. If you told me what was coming, I would probably be a little jumpy at the plate and probably miss the pitch. And then I'd be upset with myself. That's why I never wanted to know what was coming. I wanted to see the ball and react to it. Some guys, they like it though. They can sit back and get off the swing that they're looking to get off. I just didn't like it because it would give me anxiety a little bit. I'd be too anxious. So I just see ball, react to ball. But a lot of guys like that. And it helps certain teams. I'm sure there are guys who are stealing signs right now every time they get to second base. It's the easiest thing to do. But it's not as easy as it used to be because they have those little microphones now, whatever you call those things, in there. The catcher has that. He just hits a button. The pitcher has it up in his ear. So you can't, how can you steal a sign that way? It's kind of impossible unless the pitcher's hat is that big and he's got the microphone way up and you can hear it. It's kind of impossible. But some catchers still put down the fingers. I'm watching right now and I don't see the catcher putting down his fingers. Pitcher's getting the relay and he's coming set and he's throwing home. So, yeah, we'll see. Jack.
Aaron Judge and the Yankees seem to be caught in a controversy on pitch tipping. I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit more about that and whether other teams are doing pitch tipping. Thanks.
That's funny when you say tipping because that's something we look for. Is a guy going into his glove and spreading his hands out on his changeup? Or is he holding it like this on his fastball? Is he holding it like this on his changeup? There's so many things that a pitcher can do to tip his pitches. Sometimes he doesn't know he's doing it. And if you're sitting on the bench and we're watching, we pick that up. And we want to relay that to the plate as best we can. So that just tells me that the Yankees have some veteran guys on their bench who are very keen in what they're doing. You can't fool them. They've seen it all. And they can pick up the little things. That's the one thing about a Major League ball player. You're playing so many games. You're watching so many players play. You're facing so many different pitchers. You're starting to pick up the quirks. And now you start to understand. Okay, I see this guy. I remember, who was it? Jose De Leon. I'd get to first base. He'd come set and he'd bob his head 1, 2, 3 times and he'd go home. So I get to first base. He gets set. He bob his head 1, 2, 3. I'm gone. That's how you pick up quirks, pick up tendencies. You start to know what a guy's going to do before you even get in that situation. And big league players remember everything. Don't let them fool you. They remember everything. And a lot of times, some of the best, they have a book and they write down everything, every pitch, every sequence, every hit, every out. And I think that gets around. Now guys get traded, they go to other teams, they start spreading around that information. It gets around the league. And that's why this is a league of adjustments. You have to always make adjustments daily. The great Tony Fernandez, rest in peace, used to say, you've got to make adjustments at the plate every pitch. And he was right. You have to make an adjustment every pitch. I'm watching right now how some of the A's, because I watch the A's most because, again, I cover the A's, and some of those guys got off to great starts, and now they're struggling. Let me take a look. I'll tell you. Brent Rooker, 28-year-old, he's cooled off after a hot start. He's in like 128, 179 with 17 strikeouts and just 1 RBI in his last 12 games. This is how the league adjusts to you. You can be hot, but then all of a sudden that advanced scout comes in and he starts to pick up your tendencies. Oh, fastball. He was on that fastball. Oh, changeup. He's missed that changeup. Oh, he's chasing the slider. Now he goes 0 for 4 that day. Your team comes in town and you pitch him the same way. And he's still chasing. He's still got the habit of chasing pitches out the zone, or he's still out in front of the changeup. He can't recognize the slider. And before you know it, you're struggling. And if you don't understand it, because Rooker hasn't been in the league long enough to understand, the advanced scout is pitching you the same way the last guys pitch you. That's how it works. Tony Kemp right now, hitless in his last 21 at-bats. That's the longest drought among position players in baseball. That's 21 at-bats where he hasn't gotten a hit. Man, guys like me I'd probably be going 150 on the freeway. Hopefully not to crash, but to change my luck. I gotta do something. And Esteury Ruiz is hitting 179 with 2 caught stealers and 5 attempts across his last 10 games. You can go from being here to here in the big leagues quickly. That's why we always say, just try to stay as consistent as you can, because you got to enjoy the good times, because the bad times are coming. I don't care how good you are. The bad times are coming. So that's just how baseball goes.
Hi, Bip. I'm calling from Chicago. I'm seeing the White Sox and Angels tonight. I'm curious what you think of the new base running rules, the larger bases, the limited number of throws to first. How do you think they're working? And how many steals do you think you'd have if you had the green light today? Thanks.
I was choking when you said, I almost choked. Thinking, how many could I get? Bigger base, you can only throw over 2 times. The third time you throw over, you have to get me or else it's a balk. I usually steal maybe 40 bags a year, sometimes 20 to 40, depending on my health. I think in a good year, I'd add 20 more to that 46. I'd probably steal 66 bags. Probably steal 60 bags a year now, knowing that there's a pitch timer. You can only throw a couple times. The bases are bigger, because you have to realize most stolen bases are bang, bang. And in our day, bang, bang was either safe or out. Now, bang, bang, there's a replay. A lot of times our bang, bang, we thought we were safe. We were called out. We go back and look at tape. We were safe. So sometimes you take away 10 bags from us because we were bang, bang, and we thought we were safe. We knew we were safe, but you called us out. So that 46 could have been 56. And now, because of the rules, the stolen bases are way up. Still in second is easy, and still in third is even easier. So I think guys like Marquise Grissom and Delino DeShields and Otis Nixon, Brett Butler, Barry Bonds, Barry Larkin, Eric Davis, and the list goes on and on and on. It would have been guys vying for 100 bags every year. Easy. Because guys were base stealers then. And that was when the slide step came out, where it was a balk move to first back, a balk move home. The guys were still getting those bags. Vince Coleman, how could I forget Vince Coleman? Vince Coleman might have had. I remember playing against Vince in the minor league when Vince had like 146. So with these rules, Vince probably would have another 146. He wouldn't be able to throw him out. Steve Finley's and and all these guys. And what about Kenny Lofton? Man, oh man. Ozzie. Again, Willie McGee. Who else? Tim Raines. Oof. Tim Rock Raines. Man. Wow. Roberto was a good space stealer. Man, it's just so many guys out there back then who could steal bags. You guys probably don't remember Tiny Mike Felder. Tiny Mike Felder probably would have stole 100 himself. Tiny could run. Was with Milwaukee, and then he came over to the Giants. You guys may not remember that name, but in this day and age, Tiny Felder would have probably been the man. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know how many I would have stolen. I would have tried to get one every day, if not 2, 3, 4, depending on the type of game I was having. I've seen S. Jury steal 4 in one game. Still second twice, still third twice. So I don't know, man. That's a great question.
Hey, Bip. As Boston and Miami are set to square off for Game 7 tonight, did you ever get the opportunity to play in a Game 7? If so, how would you mentally prepare yourself for that game?
We played a couple Game 7s, wild card, and the American League East, and then we got to the World Series. I didn't play in that last Game 7, unfortunately. We thank you, Coach, for keeping me out. It was a great call. But it's tough, man. You just have to play it like it's another game. You can't, I don't think you go out there and play any game by putting pressure on yourself. You have to find a way to relax in it. Like this, like the scripture says. The Holy Spirit is there to exhort, to edify, and to allow you to rest in peace in God. And you got to find a way to rest in peace when you're playing in a Game 7 and just play your game. Simple. That's how you have to do it. And if you add too much pressure to yourself, you're not going to perform to your capabilities because you're going to tighten up. You're going to think too much. And anytime you think too much, it stops your reaction time. So you're not functioning on a normal capacity. You're trying to force an issue. And in a game of baseball, you can't force anything. It has to be a free flow. So that's in every game. You approach every game the same way. Because once you start trying to differentiate between this and that and this and that, it's too mental, man. We're human beings. Of course, you're going to have butterflies. That's a good thing. But when you add pressure to yourself, that's not a good thing. So that's why you hear players say all the time, man, that was a tough game yesterday. You know what? We flush that and we move on. Flush it and move on. It's the fans that hold on to everything because the fan doesn't understand what goes on behind the scenes. You see? So I think that's something that players learn going through the minor leagues. You can't do anything about yesterday today. You have to forget that. You can't do anything about tomorrow today. You just have to do what you can today and do the best you can today, right? And that's how you do it. So, all right. Well, we thank you all for those questions. Again, if you want to follow, hit that little heart right there. You see that heart? It should be a heart. You just press that button and we'll let you know when the shows are coming up. And then you'll get a chance to hang out with the Bipster and listen to a little bit of baseball talk. You see, we just did those questions. You can also send in those questions to the live feed. Just go ahead and do that. If you want to advertise on the show, send me a little something. I'll figure out how to get that. I'll figure out how I can get that. And then maybe I will put you in there when I have to make a run here or there doing my commercials. You know, you wouldn't know it, but sometimes when I put you on commercial, like right now, I got some food on over there. So I had to make sure it didn't burn. I had to get my gravy right on my chicken, you know, with a little mushroom in there and all that good old mushroom soup and then some chicken broth and season it and put the chicken in there. I did that all in between to play in. See? Very versatile. Got to play second, short, third, center, left, right, hit from left side, hit from right side. Got to be versatile in this world, y'all. Right? All right. All right. Well, look, it's 4:50. I got to get to this meal. I'm hungry. I worked out today. I did a lot of business in the office with the real estate. I did a business plan to get the Oakland School of Baseball on the map. Man, you just wait until I can drop that on you. Ooh, just wait, man. Just wait. If the A's leave, Oakland School of Baseball, we just gonna move right on in. Not to that Coliseum. We're not trying to do that. But you just wait until I drop that one on you. And then I was able to start my meal. I looked up, and man, it was like almost time for Bip's Blips here on the Mic'd Up app. Go to your app store, download it, check your boy out. We'll enjoy. All right. So from the Bipster and the Mic'd Up app, Bip's Blips, we'll holler at you later. All right. Peace.
Mic'd Up.